why I stopped caring about winning rate and why you should do it too. Let's check it out. As of right now, guys, I have one account that's pretty much positive, okay? And then I brought you the report data of this account from these past months, which is the challenge that I started in this account. I started in April and right now it's June, so it's been almost 3 months right now, okay? And as you can see here, I have an average consecutive 25 wins, okay, versus 2 consecutive losses. Now, the average loss trade is 1.8 versus the average win is 3.94. So the average winning is much higher than the average loss. Okay. Now the largest loss trade was 1.98. Okay. Versus 18.58, the largest profit trade. So as you can see, this account is very profitable. Okay. And now in terms of percentage rate, like I said, it's 52 trades won. So that's 92%. Okay. And versus 6 loss trades, which is 5.77%. All right. And you're going to say, oh, Samuel, but you have a really high winning rate. I know, but bear with me. The thing with the winning rate is that you can manipulate that, especially if you're not using stop loss. In this strategy right here, I am not using stop loss in most of the trades, not all the trades. What I'm doing with this strategy is I'm using proportional lot size. And that means that every trade that I open and as long as I don't close it, and because I have a lot of proportional lot size, I can wait. So that way I can choose to close the profitable ones versus the negative ones. Or if a trade goes against me, I can wait for as long as I can to the market go back to break even. That way I can manipulate and I can increase how much I'm going to be closing the positive trades versus the negative trades. For example, say I have 10 trades open and 5 of those trades are negative and then 5 of those trades are positive. I have a total of 10 open trades and I have 5 trades positive and then I have 5 trades negative. If I just choose to close the positive 5 ones, I will have a 100% winning rate. So it's just to show how easy it is to manipulate that. I can literally just hide my drawdown in those 5 negative trades and I can increase my winning rate as much as possible. That's why it does not matter, because you can increase this winning rate to 100% or 90% or 80%, or you can even decrease that to 20% and still be profitable. It does not matter. You can have, for example, say I have 100 trades, all right? So say in 99 of those trades, you earn $10, in which gives you a total amount of 990, right? Positive. But you have one negative trade, and that one negative trade, you lost 2,000. So you now have a negative 2,000, have a positive 990. You have a deficit of 1,010. So even though you have a 99% of winning rate strategy, oh my God, I have a winning rate strategy of 99%. God damn it, I found the magic formula. I found the eighth wonder of the world. If you have a deficit of 1,000, you're not profitable. It does not matter. And it's the same thing around. Say, for example, it's the opposite. If you have 99 trades, which is negative, and you lost $10 each, which now means you have a negative 990, but on the one single trade that you made profitable, you made 2,000, you now have a positive 1,010 and have a 1% winning rate strategy. I'm being very extreme here, but I just want to show you that I can manipulate that. I can manipulate. It doesn't matter if it's a 2%, 5%, 20%, 99% winning rate, 100%, 50%. You just have to make more money when you win, right? The word here is a trigger word, because the just is usually not that simple as just doing that, but you know what I'm talking about. And like I said, because I do not use stop loss in my base strategies, there's no SL, I can close, I can wait for the negative trades to go back to break even. So say I placed a buying position here and then the market moved against me. I can wait for as long as possible to wait for that to go back to break even point. And if that doesn't go back to break even point, I can just hedge the trade, which is a whole different strategy. But I'm not going to close that. I'm not going to close that loss most of the time. Sometimes I will close that loss. Like I said, if I'm losing 100 here, say I have a negative 100, but I want 300 on the other end, I now have a positive 200, for example. okay, which is all that matters. And I can constantly adjust that every single day. So when somebody say, oh, I have a winning rate strategy that's like 99% of 80%, for me, it does not really matter. What matters for me is what is the risk that you're taking to do that strategy. Do you go to 90% drawdown to do that? Do you use stop loss? Do you not use stop loss? Do you mix the strategy with another market? How is your portfolio diversified? So it really does not matter. It really doesn't matter. You can manipulate that. If you're not using stop loss, you can manipulate that for as much as possible. And that's the thing I want to tell you guys. Winning rate doesn't matter. It just looks beautiful when you have a 99% winning rate strategy. It looks really beautiful. But the real question here, are you profitable? That's the only thing that matters. Are you making more money than what you're losing? If you're not making more money than what you're losing, it doesn't make no sense. Now, if you go to my FX book, you know for a fact that my winning rate's pretty high. Okay, I have way more winning trades than losses. I'm pretty much having like what, 95%, 99% of winning rate. But like I said, it does not matter. And there's a trade-off for that. So because I'm only closing positive trades, my drawdown is increasing a lot more. So I'm having profits here, but the drawdown frequency is increasing faster than if I was to close more negative trades. What you have to understand is the risk goes together with the reward. You can never win something on one end without hurting some other thing on the other end, for example. So because I'm making a lot more here, profits, my drawdown is increasing much higher, which is not a bad thing for me because I'm calculating that I have a lot of margin, so it's okay for me. I accepted that risk, but I know that there's a risk for that. It's not that simple because it's so easy for me to just come out here and be like, I have a 95% winning rate. There's always a trade-off, right? If I wanted to be a little bit more conservative, instead of closing those trades and have a 9% winning rate, what I could do is I could have a 50%, for example, winning rate, and then I would have a 50% loss and 50% wins. It would probably mean that I would have less drawdown and less profit, but like I said, I have more liquidity. So again, it's not that it's one thing is better than the other. It's just the dynamics of the market. Like I said, if you were to ask me, hey Samuel, what's the right thing? It depends on the person. It depends on you, and it depends on what you want. Like the money that you put aside for the risk for this trade, what are you going to use that? Are you leveraging that? Are you trying to grow a portfolio out of that? Are you trying to diversify the risk, or what the heck are you doing? It really depends on what you're doing from this account. Some people, they don't care. They're trying to do 30% a month because that's a separate capital for them to make profits faster, whereas some other person can be using that capital to be growing the portfolio for the long term, right? So all of those things you have to take into consideration. That's why it's so much more dynamic than just somebody selling you a super high winning rate, like I said, okay? But that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot more coming up, guys, so subscribe for more if you want to keep studying with me. Sorry for repeating myself sometimes. It's just not my native language. I'm trying my hardest to make this thing as clear as possible for you guys. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.